but we're getting in. A performance depends on three things. It depends on the performer, and I'm not the performer, remember?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. But
I keep remembering you.
Yeah.
You used the word.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's because I'm human. It depends on the performer, and it depends on the audience, and it depends on the vibrations on the particular night. And if one of those three are wrong, the whole thing's wrong. It doesn't matter whether it's the performer, or the audience, or the place. If one of those three is wrong, then it's no score, you know, no contest, nothing achieved. I'm a person who's in a position of having quite a lot of people who listen to him, right?
Yeah.
And if I start talking a lot of rubbish, then I'm just as bad as the generations that have preceded me, as examples out from the generations that have preceded me, and I don't want to be as bad as them. So I've got to think about what I'm saying. I like to think about what I'm saying. Sometimes I don't get chance, and sometimes the spontaneous moment is perhaps the best way to use your personality. You know, I get a lot of chances to use my head spontaneously, and those are good, and I always seem to come out of them well.
Yeah.
Leastways, I can always justify myself to myself, you know, afterwards. You see, I don't want to stand up and say Heil Hitler, you know, believe in me, I am the end, you know, abracadabra, you know. That's not what I want to do. I just want to say, you know, I'm a man and I'm alive, and how do you do? How are you? I'm alright, you know, sometimes I get a bit fed up, but I'll go home now. Good night, you know. He's having difficulty over there. The whole media, communications media is all messed up now. It's all wound round everything, and there's more confusion now, I think, than there ever has been. I mean, at one time, the serf knew where the free man was, and the free man knew where the squire was, and the squire knew where the knight was, and the knight knew where the earl was, and the earl knew where the king was, and the king should have known where God was, but whether, you know, that's another story. But everybody knew where he was, you know, but nobody knows where they are now. And it's becoming more and more confused as we become more and more leaderless, you know. And I think my efforts are just the same as a lot of people's efforts now, is into getting some understanding going between people, you know. I tend to think of Holland as historically all the time. I don't seem to relate to Holland. The only thing that comes into Holland at all that's recent is the underground things that have gone on in Amsterdam. That's the only thing that I relate to that's recent, that's in the last 100 years, you know. No, performers, yeah, performers. There's a lot of performers that I like. I can't remember actually who I identify with now. Stevie Stills, there's one. Steve Stills. Stephen Stills. He's great. He really, most of his work really knocks me out. But I can't write like that, and I wouldn't try to write like that. I'm not actually like that as a person. I believe that I've never met him. I think that actually I'd get on with him if I did meet, if we did meet at any time. But he's got a good thing going. He's got. Oh, here's the refreshment. It's a pity that that group have to split up, really. Crosby, Stills, and Nash, you know, because I really rated them.